Okay, we are live.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a regret that we have to have this meeting virtual today, but as many of you know, we've been devastated by the horrific Hurricane Helene. Just know that we're working through this process to make sure that we keep your government up and running and get our city up and running. With that, Madam Clerk, I'm going to call this meeting to order.
Yes, sir. Let us pray for our invocation. Eternal loving God, we thank you for this beautiful day. We ask for your guidance for all those who devoted themselves to the common good of this community. We lift up members of the Augusta Commission and staff for special guidance and direction during today's deliberations. Heal us from our differences and unite us, O Lord, with a common purpose, dedication, and commitment to achieve what is good for all Augustans, and especially those who are most vulnerable in our midst. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. We thank you for that. Needed. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we're going to go to legal first. We have a All right, we're going to consent agenda. All right, Madam Clerk, we're going to go ahead and move to the consent agenda portion of our meeting.
Mr. Mayor, we do have an addendum agenda.
Okay.
So you may want to go ahead and see if there are any objections so that some of those may be considered during your addendum agenda as well.
Ms. Bonner, with the consent of the commissioners, I'm requesting that we adopt the published agenda for October 1st, 2024 as the agenda for today.
Okay.
All right. Colleagues, we do have an addendum agenda. I think there it is. It's on the screen. Colleagues, is there any objection to us adopting any of these items on this addendum agenda?
I can't object to it because I can't see it.
All right.
I don't know what the addendum.
Madam Clerk, for the record.
So let me send it to. Let's see if I. Hold on just a moment.
You're gonna have to text it to me because emails aren't loading very quickly out here.
Yeah, Madam Clerk, for the record, please read it for anybody else that may not be.
That I do have them on my email. Well, Mr. Mayor, let me just send them out to everyone. The addendum agenda and the attachments. Hold on.
We have them, but I think for the record, it's probably more appropriate to still read them in the event that there's someone online that does not have access.
I can't. Okay, what's that again now, sir?
Can you just read them into the record for those who may not have access?
Yeah, that's fine. Just read them into the record.
Okay. The first item is a motion to approve emergency procurement of the Hurricane Helene debris removal services and authorize the mayor to execute an initial response contract with Surrey's Environmental Services, Inc. and approve use of general fund balance not to exceed $6,300,000 to fund these services requested by the administrator.
Thank you. Is there any objection to this matter? Hearing or seeing none, let's move on to number 2, Madam Clerk.
Item 2 is to approve emergency procurement of Hurricane Helene's debris management and financial recovery services. Authorize the mayor to execute an initial response contract with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, Inc. and approve use of general fund balance not to exceed $550,000 requested by the administrator.
Is there any objections to this item? Hearing or seeing none, let's move forward.
Item 3 is a motion to direct a restricted donation from Comcast to United Way of the CSRA for Hurricane Helene's relief efforts. Requested by the administrator.
Are there any objections to this matter? Hearing or seeing none, let's go.
Item 4 is to receive as information an update on water bill collections during Hurricane Helene's recovery late payment penalty waiver requested by the administrator.
Are there any objections?
No, sir. I wanted to ask a question real quick.
Yes, sir.
What you said that Comcast is going to give some money. Do we know how much?
A minimum of $50,000. Minimum. They may go as high as 100. We don't have confirmation yet, but a minimum.
Okay.
And it's our intent is to give that money to the United Way. All right. All right. Madam Clerk, I think that takes us to number 4.
Yes, sir. Receive as information and update on the water bill collection during Hurricane Helene's recovery. Late payment penalty waiver requested by the administrator.
Are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none? Let's move forward.
Okay. Last item, number 5, is to approve the waiver of fees up to 5 bags of household waste per household at the Augusta landfill for the period September 30th, 2024 through October 5th, 2024, requested by the administrator.
Are there any objections to this matter?
No objections. No objections, but I did want to say something.
Yes, sir. Come. What, Commissioner Williams, if you can hold off a second, I'm gonna let this administrator add something before.
We just need to amend that, Ms. Barner, to say Richmond County residents only.
Okay.
Commissioner Williams, you have the floor, sir.
All right, so we're gonna have trash trucks coming by to pick up. I don't know, this Wednesday, next Wednesday, or what have you. We're gonna have some people. We're gonna have some trash out there. Then they're gonna have some trash and some more trash and some more trash. So, are we gonna talk with those people to tell them that they need to pick up whatever people have, or is it just up to the 5 bags that they can pick up, or what is it? What kind of talks are we going to have with those trash disposal people? If we don't have the answer, we need to think about it, because you're going to have some folks that are going to put some limbs out there. You're going to have some folks that are going to put some trash out there. You're going to have some folks with some extra stuff. So, but they're going to have to help us out in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Williams. This is just household trash.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you said 5 additional bags. That's if they take it, or if they can put 5 bags out on the curb.
Oh, no, that's if they take it to the landfill. We have some people that are taking it directly themselves.
Right, but you're going to have some people, they're going to put probably some additional trash out in front of their houses, so we probably need to get in front of that. So we don't have an answer for it. We probably need to go ahead and start talking to those folks, because I know some people that put some limbs out in front of the house and already, and it's, big trash, whatever. So, and they haven't put the house trash out there yet. I don't know. There's maybe something we need to get in front of.
Yes, sir. That's a good point. We do have a plan for that. The debris management team that we're bringing in that is supposed to start, of course, awaiting today's approval. We'll start picking that up, and we'll start putting directives out there to the community and how to put that waste to the outside to the curb.
All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk, I didn't hear any objection to this addendum agenda, so we're going to add all 5 items. Now we're going to move forward with the regular agenda.
Are you going to add those to your consent?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Okay.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, I am trying to get a copy just to make sure these were accurately provided. I think Jeff has another copy. Jeff?
I do not have one yet.
Okay, I need that one forwarded. I think it needs to be a modification to number 3. But we can add these we can just add them to the agenda, and we'll address those. Thank you.
All right, that moves us to the regular portion of our agenda.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
So the monies that we're going to spend are coming from our rainy day fund, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So with us declaring ourselves to be a state of emergency and what have you, we'll be able to apply to get those monies back, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just checking.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just one clarification. Commissioner Williams just asked if this is coming from rainy day, but I believe the agenda item said general fund. Can we get clarification on that? Is that general fund or is this reserves?
It's coming from our general fund balance, the fund balance reserve money, which we have an estimated amount, to cover that adequately. amount to cover. Now, let me please make sure that everybody understands, this is just the initial phase as well. Once they get out there, we'll realize and recognize that there's additional funds gonna be necessary. So I do wanna make sure that everyone is aware of that.
Commissioner Johnson, I wanna make sure you heard that. You froze a little bit. I wanna make sure you're still online and you heard that. You're good. All right, thank you, Commissioner. All right. All right, Madam Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Fran.
I will, Ms. Bonner, I'll ask to consent a bunch of agenda items.
All right, Ms. Bonner, that moves us to the consent portion of our agenda.
Okay, we're not adding any, that's it? Consent agenda. Okay, well, right now the consent agenda will consist of the 5 that were just added in the minutes. Are there going to be additional ones from the regular agenda added on?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm about to state.
We're getting Commissioner Fran statement.
Okay, I didn't hear it.
To the addendum agenda, number 4 is something we need an update on, so that one will be on consent. But 1,
Okay,
2,
you're
3, and
objecting?
5 will be consent. 1, 2, 3, and 5 on the addendum will be consented. And then on the regular agenda, we won't be able to do 2 through 7 because there's no opportunity for objectors on any alcohol petitions. So
Okay.
I'm starting with number 8, consent, number 10, consent, 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, and 34.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to check through those before I ask for anybody else.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Sorry. This is Commissioner Pulliam.
Yes, ma'am.
The way we have the addendum agenda put up on the screen, is there a way we could possibly put at least that page that Commissioner Fransom read out? Because it's taking our phones forever to load, so I just had to send a picture of the addendum agenda to some of my colleagues.
Yes,
So
ma'am. We're gonna try to get that put up for you. Give us just a second, okay?
Okay,
Well,
so before
give
we
me a-
consent to
yeah.
that, I need to see that. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, give me a moment and I'll send it out to them.
Because it's not loading via email.
Oh, it's not? Oh, okay.
No, ma'am. So the way we have the addendum agenda as like a picture on our screen, I can see it that way. So even if we're able to put that on the screen, like we have the addendum agenda, that would be very helpful.
Oh, Jeff, can you assist with that?
Thank you.
If you can email it to me, I can display
I
whatever.
did. You have it. Okay, let me check.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr.
just for the record too, I just wanted to clarify number 3 on the agenda. Motion to direct a restricted donation from Comcast to United Way of CSRA for Hurricane Helene relief efforts. I think you mentioned that, but I wanted to make sure it was clear. These it's a little different than what was on the screen initially.
All right. We're gonna see if Jeff can get it up on the screen. Commissioner Pulliam, do you have access to the internet? Because I have the app pulled up from the agenda book app.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have access. I'm sorry, Commissioner Guilfoyle. He asked me a question. May I answer that question first?
Commissioner Guilfoyle, hold on 1 second. Commissioner Pulliam,
Okay.
you were saying?
Yes, sir. I don't have access to internet, but like cell phone service is still working. So like my cell phone service is not shaky where I'm sitting. So that's why I was saying if it could be put up on the screen, I can actually see it because the internet is running slow.
All right. Okay. Well, Jeff is going to work on that.
If that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Before we move forward,
Thank
we'll get
you.
it on the screen for you, okay?
Thank you so much, sir.
Commissioner Guilfoyle, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, sir. We could add agenda item number 31 to the consent. If anybody's questioning, it's a $910,530 grant for the federal and state grant with the TIA.
We already did that one.
Thank you so much. We at a disadvantage, you know, trying to look on the internet slow as well out here in the South.
All right. So that's
I've got
item
that.
32, sir.
I've got it
Thank you.
coming soon.
All right.
What do they want to see? That's the whole agenda?
The agenda.
Yes, okay.
Let's start with the first page.
Doing that.
1, 2, second page. Start with second page. Next page.
Keep going. Right there. Right there.
Right there. Yeah, stop right there for a minute. Commissioner Pulliam, can you see those?
Yes, sir, I can. Thank
Alright.
you. I'm looking at
Let
them
me know
now.
when you need to scroll forward.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm fine. I don't know if my colleagues are finished looking at it. Can all my colleagues see it? I don't want to just.
All right. Any objection to any of these? Hearing and seeing none, Jeff, let's go to 17 and the rest of them if you can. 17 to 26. Mr. Pulliam, let us know when you're ready.
Okay, sir. I'm good. Thank you.
Let's get the last few items, please.
Question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
So we haven't gone over 30 down, correct? It was just to number 29. Is that correct? Or no? We can send it. Sorry.
30.
Let me look back at the
32 and 34 were consented.
30, 32, 34. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm good.
Motion to approve.
Who is that, Ms. McKnight? Let me just ask this, on item number 25, Reverend Ivy has requested that his item be rescheduled at the next Engineering Services Committee. Could we just consent that one as well?
Sure.
Yes. Is there, are there any
Yes, ma'am.
objections? Hearing or seeing none, madam. Just consent.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So I just had a question about, so there's an item on here about code enforcement and credit card policies and stuff like that. Are those items important for us to discuss today? Can we afford to move those back another meeting or so we can handle the important things?
so we'll just reschedule.
And like
Johnson, I think we've
salary
deferred those.
discussions and stuff
We
like
have a
that. I
better
don't think we should be talking about salary
opportunity.
discussions.
We're not gonna discuss those today was the thought.
He's okay? All right. All right, so I have a motion in a second.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry, there was
Mr. Garrett.
a breaking up. I can't.
Commissioner
Mr. Grant?
Garrett, Commissioner Brandon Garrett.
Okay,
All right, Madam Clerk, we're voting. I guess we're going to roll call vote.
yes, sir. Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Guilfoyle,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis,
I don't think he's on, Madam.
not responding. Mr. Mason? Mr. Mason? Not responding. Ms. McKnight?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pulliam?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Scott? Ms. Scott? Not responding. Mr. Bobby Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That motion carries with Mr. Lewis, Mr. Mason, and Ms. Scott absent from the vote.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Sean Brown.
I'd like to make a motion or ask that all these other agenda items be forwarded to the next full commission meeting.
All right, before we go to that, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that Commissioner Francine Scott said that she voted yes also. She is present.
She is present, okay.
All right. Commissioner Franum, can you restate that one time?
I'd like to make a motion to forward all the other agenda items to the appropriate place, whether that's a committee or a commission meeting. I guess the sponsor can determine that.
All remaining items, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Okay,
second that motion.
that Mr. Johnson and
Commissioner Franum.
that's Mr. Franum and Mr. Johnson. Okay,
Motion in second.
and,
We're voting, Madam Clerk.
okay. Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Guilfoyle,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lewis, out. Mr. Mason, out. Ms. McKnight,
Yes.
Ms. Pulliam, Ms. Pulliam,
She's on. Commissioner Pulliam. She may have dropped off.
Ms. Scott. Do you
Yeah,
hear
just
me?
take a second because she'll text us.
Oh, okay.
Said yes.
Francine Scott says yes.
Okay. Have you heard Mr. Bobby Williams?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Have we heard from Ms. Pulliam?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Pulliam.
How do you want to proceed, Mr. Mayor?
What's our vote? Do we have a,
Well, we can't hear her to vote. She's not texting in, so we would count her as being out.
yeah, all right, Madam Clerk.
We have
She may,
8.
she may need to try pressing *6 on her phone to unmute herself.
Oh,
She had spider research.
I don't see her name in the participant list currently.
Can we get an updated list on who's on the call, Jeff?
I see Commissioner Bobby Williams, Commissioner Wayne Guilfoyle, Commissioner Jordan Johnson, Commissioner Brandon Garrett, Commissioner McKnight, Commissioner Franum. If I'm missing anybody, please speak up.
Commissioner Bobby Williams, you have,
Yes.
I'm here. I'm here by phone.
Most of them.
Okay, she's
So
there.
that's Commissioner Scott, right?
Yes.
Right.
So we got 8 people.
yeah,
All right, you already got the motion, we got a second, we voted, we got to see it pass, right? That motion passed, Madam Clerk?
yes, sir.
All right, let's move forward. Attorney Plunkett?
Mr. Mayor, we would request a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing any potential litigation, real estate, and personnel matters.
Thank you. Is there a motion? There's a motion, is there a second? There's a second by Commissioner Calvin Smith McKnight. Colleagues, we're voting.
Okay, did Mr. Franum make that motion or?
You did.
Okay, and Ms. McKnight? Okay. Mr.
Can we
Franum,
restate the motion,
Yes,
please?
Mr. Garrett,
Wait a minute, Madam Clerk.
I think-
Commissioner Jordan Johnson. Commissioner Johnson?
Yeah, this internet is tough. I'm sorry. I just wanted to see if you could restate that motion.
to go into executive session
Okay, thank you,
for
Ms.
the
Bonner.
purpose of pending potential litigation, real estate, and personnel.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Guilfoyle,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Garnett Johnson,
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
one?
Mr. Jordan Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lewis, out. Mr. Mason, out. Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pulliam. Ms. Pulliam, is she on, Mayor?
I don't think,
That's her number right there.
I can't confirm, man.
Is she muted again, maybe? Okay, we'll go to Ms. Scott.
She's on.
Ms. Scott,
She's saying yes.
okay.
Yes.
Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. That motion carries with Mr. Lewis, Mr. Mason, and Ms. Pulliam not voting.
Thank you, ma'am. We're now suspended to executive session.
Just let you know when it is.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'll create that room. Also, please hold conversations.
Hello. Anybody?
Yeah, everyone's coming back to the floor. Main room. And we're back live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in session. I call this meeting back to order. Attorney Plunkett.
Mr. Mayor, we request a motion to approve, have you execute the closed meeting affidavit?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Madam Clerk, we vote. Madam Clerk. Wait a second, we gotta do this over. Jeff, we gotta get everybody in the room. We lost some colleagues.
I'm getting the spawner now.
Okay.
Hey, girl. What you doing?
Madam Clerk, are you there?
She's working on getting it unmuted.
Okay.
Hey, Ms. Bonner, are you there?
Yeah, we got it now. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Welcome
Okay.
back, Ms. Bonner.
Thank you, sir. You
All
missed
right,
me?
Attorney Plunkett.
All right, let me carry the motion on the closed meeting affidavit.
There you go. All right.
Let me get a vote on that.
All right, there's
Mr.
a motion.
Frenham?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Guilfoyle,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan Johnson, Mr. Jordan Johnson. Out.
No. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's on the affidavit, sir. Yes?
Ms.
Okay.
Bond, I voted yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can now. Thank you. Mr. Lewis?
Okay. Yes.
Out. Mr. Mason? Out. Ms. McKnight?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pulliam? Ms. Pulliam? Out. Ms. Scott? Mr. Mayor, can you see Ms. Scott, how she's voting maybe?
I can't see it on the screen, so.
I
Yes,
think I heard her say yes.
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 Okay, I hear her. Mr. Bobby Williams? Mr. Bobby Williams?
Don't see him on anymore, Ms. Bonner.
Okay. We have 7. That motion carries.
Thank you so much, Attorney Plunkett.
Mr. Mayor, we request a motion to appoint Tim Schreier as interim finance director effective immediately at a salary of his current salary plus 15% or the greater of, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Motion to appoint Tim Schreier as interim finance director at a salary of 15% of his current pay, 115% of his current pay, or the minimum for the salary grade.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Madam Clerk, we vote.
Okay, that was Ms. McKnight, I'm sorry, and Mr. Frenham, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Appointment of the interim finance director. Mr. Frenham,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Guilfoyle,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan Johnson. Mr. Jordan Johnson,
He left, but he's coming back in the meeting right now. He should be available now.
Mr. Jordan Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lewis, out. Mr. Mason, out. Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pulliam, out. Ms. Scott,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Bobby Williams. Okay, that motion carries with Mr. Lewis, Mason, Pulliam, and Bobby Williams out.
Madam Clerk, Attorney Plunkett.
We'd ask for a motion to appoint Reggie Horn as the interim IT director at a salary of 15% above his current salary or minimum of the salary grade for the position, whichever is greater.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Sean Fryden, Commissioner Catherine Smith McKnight. Madam Clerk, we vote.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes.
Mr. Guilfoyle,
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan Johnson. Mr.
Yes,
Jordan
ma'am.
Johnson, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lewis is out still. Mr. Mason, out. Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pulliam, Ms. Scott,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Bobby Williams. Out. That motion carries with Mr. Lewis, Mason, Pulliam, and Bobby Williams out.
Madam Clerk, Attorney Plunkett.
And Mr. Mayor, we'd ask for a motion to appoint Darrell White as the interim procurement director at a rate of 15% of his current salary or the minimum salary grade for the position, whichever is greater.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Catherine Smith McKnight, Commissioner Sean Fryden, Madam Clerk, we vote.
Okay, Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes.
Mr. Guilfoyle. Mr. Guilfoyle still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mayor Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jordan Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
You said yes, sir? The yes?
Yes, I say
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Lewis? Mr. Mason? Out. Ms. McKnight?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pulliam? Out. Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Bobby Williams? That motion carries with Mr. Lewis, Mason, Pulliam, and Bobby Williams out.
Madam Clerk, Attorney Plunkett, does that conclude?
One small matter, Mr. Mayor, in making the request for the motion, I said it was the interim IT director. It should have been more properly referred as the chief information officer. I don't think any vote is required, but just for clarity, he would be the chief information officer for Augusta.
For clarification, can you help us, what's the difference between that interim IT and chief? Is that your?
Yes.
Okay, that's. Okay,
Yes, sir. We'll ask Attorney Plunkett if he could just forward us those motions.
I will do so.
Thank you.
all right. That concludes it. We were ready to move back to the regular agenda portion of our meeting. We're done?
Yeah.
All right. That concludes our business, Madam Clerk. Thank you so much for getting us
Okay.
this virtual meeting. This meeting is hereby adjourned.
Thank you.